Hello, it's Stitches and Slapdashery, Slowvember day 30, the last day of Slowvember. Smile, breathe, and count your blessings. I am feeling very blessed to have spent this last month in my craft room every single day, making stuff and showing you what I did. It's been a really, really fun month. And today I don't have a specific plan for anything to make, but I'm just going to show you what I'm up to right now. It's a very random collection of things. These antlers that I bought for my Halloween costume when I was a forest fairy, I've added jingle bells to them because I am going to repurpose them as Christmas season antlers, and I will probably wear them to work later on in December. Just for fun. I might embellish them a little bit more too, but I haven't decided on that yet. But I just did the bells this morning. So those will be fun. I made another of these folded headband thingies. Now the thing I don't like about these is that when they stretch out, you can see the seam on each side. I used my serger. This was a really basic 6x20 piece of jersey that I cut from something I had made years ago, and I'm repurposing it. It was very, very quick. It's just two seams. You just make one long seam, turn it right side out, make a second little seam, and then flip it. But in the tutorials you see online for these headbands, you never see any little messy seams sticking out. So I think I should probably make another one, or maybe just cut off this seam and try sewing it with my regular sewing machine and then trim the corners. And I hope it would be a little bit less obvious. When you put it on, I suppose you could remember to pull that over and pull that over. But in the tutorials, they never seem to have to do that. So maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. Nice and comfortable though. And this is a very lovely fabric. The third thing is I've been making a right mess of my Inktense pencils today because, as you can probably see, most of them are a little stained on the wooden parts now. I decided to try using them by wetting the wetting the paintbrush and then applying the paintbrush to the ink tips or the pencil tips, getting paint on the paintbrush and then colouring something. This is one of the colouring sheets I picked up at the library today. They have free colouring sheets every week. And I know it's not very good, but the method of doing this works beautifully. It really does. So if you wanted to have some art supplies to travel with and you couldn't take anything that was a liquid if you were flying, these would be amazing because they work like a crayon, pencil crayon, and they work like a watercolor as well. So that would be so portable and fun to take if you wanted to do some painting while you were away from home. This girl's in the sea, so I decided she needed a blue face and green hair. Mr. Stitches says, she's looking very depressed, very blue. I said, she's just thoughtful, not depressed. Hey, I'd love to have hair like this. Well, my colour's almost similar to this, but I don't have the length. But maybe one day. Maybe one day. And then for the knitting, a couple of days ago, can't get the words out, and I've had coffee too. A couple of days ago, I started knitting a swatch with this giant ball of Karen anniversary cakes. And you saw me start on the ribbing because I was making a swatch cap. So one of the evenings this week on the couch, I added some stockinette. I must say, I do love the way it's knitting up. The stitches are gorgeous, and I like the tension. My tension is tighter than it possibly could be for the pattern. I want to make the vested interest vest pattern, a sleeveless pullover pattern with a scoop neck and wide ribbing around the waist by Drops Design. It's free. All of Drops Design's patterns are free as far as I know. And I needed a gauge of 11 stitches to 4 inches, and I think I've got between 12 and 13 maybe. But that's okay. I can do a little bit of math, see if I maybe need to knit a smaller size or somehow adjust things. I still haven't seen more than the 2 colours, but at some point, obviously, I will get the lovely gingerbread and the blue and white in there. Very fun. The forecast was right. We are having snow. Probably won't hang around long. It doesn't usually when it falls in November. Look at that beautiful view. We had snow this week. Where we live, we are on the snow line. I'm back in my armchair at last. I put this armchair in this little alcove, which used to be a closet, because this used to be a bedroom, a long time ago, and made this little arrangement so that I could spend some time in here. And do I ever actually sit here to craft? No. Since I got that overhead ring light, I just mostly use my sewing table because the light is so good there. In fact, it's spoilt me for any other light now. Upstairs, we have okay lighting in the living room, but when you want to do something which requires good vision, and when you have older eyes like mine with a very, very short sight, good light is essential. If you asked me what my favourite activity or craft was for the last month, I don't think I could give you a favourite. I've enjoyed it all. I've done a little list of everything I did this month, just in general. So I'm just going to round it all up for you because this is the last day of Slowvember. I nearly said Snowvember there, and that's very appropriate. A couple of days ago, we had snow. It was wet snow all day. And there is still snow on the garden. And it's hovering around freezing. The roads are fine. But yeah, the snow on the grass and on the edges is still sticking around because it hasn't melted. And when I look across the valley, I can see that we're on a level with the snow line. If we go down to the lake, it's still green or brown there. Up here, it's a little whiter. So we are segueing from Slowvember into Snowvember. And I'm very aware that lovely garland and pumpkin arrangement with all my little toadstools on my kitchen windowsill is very soon going to have to be exchanged for something more seasonal because we are pretty much at the end of fall now. So let's stop waffling and get on with this part, shall we? So I have done sewing this month. I've made bunting, I have slow stitched scrolls and Christmas trees. I have done some leaf mending, made a mug rug and crumb blocks. That's a little bit of quilting. I have made drawstring bags and hairbands. So the serge has been out, the regular machine's been out, and there's been lots of hand sewing too. So that's been fun. I've done paper crafts. I made a fairy notebook and also a mini fairy notebook. So one for me plus one for the fairies for tax, as one does. Baking, bread, granola, mincemeat, ready for the mince pies around Christmas time, and apple pie. Rather disappointing apple pie. It was too healthy. To be honest, it could have been a little bit more decadent. Never mind. Printing, full leaves on linen, rubber stamping, and making leaf prints with my gel plate. Yarn, I've been crocheting granny squares. I have been knitting that swatch that I mentioned before for the vest I want to knit in December. And there's been a little bit of dishcloth crochet as well. Not that exciting, but I guess it counts. I've used beads in some of my crafts. I've made keychains with those beautiful round paw beads for my family who lost a dog a few weeks ago. And the dragonflies that I made with the pipe cleaners and the maple seeds, and made bead bodies. And those are still hanging on my kitchen window. They're very pretty. Maybe I could make a winter version of those so I don't have to say goodbye to them. Or maybe I could hang them on my Christmas tree when the time comes. There's an idea. I've used air dry clay for the first time. I really enjoyed that, and that's definitely not my only pack of air dry clay. I've got a little bit left of that package. I need to make something else, and I need to buy more. Because it reminded me of a lot of years ago, actually. I was going to say a few years ago. I mean, this is when the kids were young, and we used to go to a pottery studio and do classes for hand building, and we've all got little bits of pottery sitting around the house, little bowls and things like that, which we made years ago, and we had a lot of fun with that. I know I'm saying fun a lot, but it is. And the air dry clay is reminiscent of that hand building pottery class, but on a smaller, less expensive scale. With the clay, I made a couple of toadstools that were on sticks for putting in a plant pot. I made a couple more toadstools which sit on my kitchen windowsill with that lovely fall display. And I also made a leaf bowl. I rolled out some clay, cut around a leaf and curved it and painted it to make a little shallow bowl, which, again, I absolutely love. I've done a bit of painting, not one of my strong suits particularly, but painting the mushrooms and the rock with the red paint and the white spots on came out so well. It encouraged me to do more of that. I used the acrylic paints on that little leaf bowl that I made of the clay too. And I've been getting into using my Derwent Inktense pencils, and that has been quite the learning curve. But as I said before, you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it. And even though I don't think I'm particularly good at painting, it's still very satisfying to slosh colour on paper, isn't it? Done a couple of eco crafts. I've done quite a few walks. Mr. Stitches and I go walking every day. Admittedly, on the days I have a shift at work, I consider those my steps. But other days when I'm not at work, we go out for a walk, either in the daytime or at night, sometimes around the neighbourhood, sometimes in the local parks or alongside the lake. And I collected a lot of leaves and maple seeds and pine cones and things this year and used them in my crafts. And I made that mobile with the pine cones and the leaves and the little fairy all dressed in blue that's hanging in my kitchen. And I made a bug hotel, which was just a big old flower pot, which I stuffed with all sorts of organic matter. And I put a little sign on that says something like bug hotel. What was it? Plant pot for sale or rent, room to let, 50 cents. Something like that. Good to have a sense of humour, isn't it? Especially if it involves laughing at yourself. And then a bunch of miscellaneous things. I made a fall gnome. I applied fall leaves to mason jars for putting votive candles in there. And it was the first time I had bought a pot of Mod Podge, and that's had quite a lot of use this month. I used it to varnish my toadstools and my rock and my leaf bowl, and applying the leaves to the jars, and it all worked great. So I'm sold on Mod Podge now. I made a little dent in the button stash. I made 3 little ornaments that were graduated size of buttons to look like little trees in 3 different colorways, and that was so much fun. I made tinier versions of that as earrings, and I definitely want to make more of that. I have so many buttons, it's unreal. So more button crafts, more button crafts. I really need to, I don't know, make a massive button garland or something. I don't want to waste them, because having a stash is a wonderful resource when you get inspiration at a moment's notice, and you can come into your craft room and make something straight away without having to go and buy anything. So I will eventually get to use those buttons. I know I will. I even wrote a haiku this month, which I wrote in my fairy notebook, Ode to a Leaf. I can't remember what it said now. It's not important. It was fun. And the last thing I did was a bunch of colouring. And really, I suppose that is related to painting as well, in that I was doing it mostly with the Derwent Inktense pencils. I have lots of projects I want to attack in December. I want to knit a vest. I want to sew a shirt. Oh, actually, seeing as I've got the shirt pattern within reach here, this McCall's pattern M6613. I've made this before in a plaid, a turquoise plaid. I talked about this a while back, and it came out really well. I can't remember which view I made. I think it was a long sleeved and it had a shaped hemline. Maybe it was view D. I didn't bother with the tab, but when you roll up the sleeves, you can have a tab inside to button back on it. I didn't bother with that. I have a shirt like that, and really, it's not necessary. But I did the plaid matching and everything, and it came out so well. I wanted to see if A, I remembered how to do it well, and B, if I could make a ton of fun shirts using the same pattern, but without worrying about pattern matching. So the last time I was at Fabricland, I bought a ton of this fabric. I don't know, I probably showed you at the time, I don't know. So it doesn't need to be matched. I don't think it's a one-way. I guess I should have checked it wasn't a one-way. It doesn't matter. I think I bought 3 meters of this. The last time I made this, it was in the wider width fabric, like 150 centimeters. This is only 115, so I needed more of it. So I want to make another shirt in December, and I want to do it when I've got a chunk of time to really focus on it and not just be in a rush at the end of a work day or something, because I really want to give it my best effort. And then, I don't know, there was a bunch of other things I wanted to try. So let's look forward to December now. I'm sorry for you guys in the Southern Hemisphere that this has all been talk about fall. I know of at least one of you who's in New Zealand, and you're probably like rolling your eyes and thinking, what? I'm in the summer here. Can you talk about something else? Sorry, I'm in Canada. What can I say? But hopefully you'll be able to take some of the ideas and use them. When we're having our spring, you can be doing all these fall crafts. I want to officially welcome all of you lovely new subscribers who joined me this month. I hope you continue to watch and enjoy the content that I'm putting out. Normally I have a fairly frequent vlog schedule, at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. If I'm making a lot of stuff, I get all excited about it and want to talk about it. So do stick around and let's get to know each other better. Thanks everybody for watching and liking and commenting and sharing and all that good stuff. Thanks to you, I got pushed over 1,000 subscribers this month, and that was very, very exciting for this little channel. I'll see you again really soon. Bye for now.